If you've been following the Google Pixel leaks over the past couple of days, it has been busy, and now thanks to Android Authority contributor Kamila Wojciechowska, it's getting even busier because we have seen a leak from Google's chip division that tells us all about that Tensor G5, camera AI features for the Pixel 10, and even a huge upgrade that might be coming to Face Unlock on the Pixel 11. Let's start with Tensor G5 though, and as we already know that Google is going to ditch the manufacturing process with Samsung when it comes to this new Tensor G5. And it's going to go with TSMC. And because of this, it's expected to give us a much bigger performance leap from the Tensor G4 than we saw this year round. Tensor G5 will feature an updated CPU cluster consisting of one ARM Cortex-X4 Prime core, 5 Cortex-A725 performance cores, and 2 ARM Cortex-A520 efficiency cores. The GPU will then also get a bump as well to a dual-core Imagination Technologies DXT48153 unit, and that will be clocked at 1.1 GHz. And one of the takeaways from this is that the Tensor G5 will be the first Tensor chip that we've ever seen that will have ray tracing. So if you're a gamer but you really like having the Google Pixel as your everyday phone, then this is exciting because the Google Pixel 10 will be the first one to support that ray tracing. The documents that we saw also showed that the Tensor G5, which internally is called Iguana, will be manufactured on TSMC's 3nm class N3E, which is the exact same process node that Apple uses for its iPhone 16 Pro's A18 Pro and its M4 chips. And then if we look even further on and we have a look at the Google Pixel 11 and Tensor G6, which is internally known as Malibu, this will be manufactured on TSMC's upcoming N3P node, which the exact same one is rumored to be used for Apple's A19 chip. And if you're a Pixel fan, then this is really exciting because we didn't really see any major upgrades in performance from the Tensor G3 to the G4, but when it comes to the Tensor G5 and the Pixel 10, and then the Tensor G6 and the Pixel 11, we should be seeing some seriously impressive performance here. What is surprising though is that we've seen some software leaks for the Google Pixel 10, and what's not surprising is hardware leaks because we see them all year running up to that launch, but it's so rare that we see any software, but we have it. And we know that Google is going to focus loads on AI for upcoming Pixel releases, but thanks to that new TPU in the Tensor G5, we're expecting to see some new video generation machine learning features coming as well. And granted, those words don't tell us an awful lot on their own, but the intended use case listed in the documents that we saw explains what the feature will do a little bit better, and it's quoted as post-capture generative AI-based intuitive video editing for the photo app. Which from our best guess, we think that this means that you're going to be able to use AI to edit your videos a little bit easier, and that AI will be able to understand prompts that it can see on screen. A little bit like the Magic Editor now, where you put in a prompt to make the sky a different color. We should be able to get something very similar when it comes to that video editing. Google is also looking at features like Speak to Tweak, which I think is a great name, and this seems to be an LLM-based editing tool. And on the way could also be a sketch to image AI feature, which might be similar to what we've seen already on Samsung, where you go into your photo and you can sketch a rough outline of something that you want to see in that photo, and the AI will edit that in. In the leaked documents, we also saw a magic mirror feature, but sadly no other context around what that might be. But the Tensor G5 should be able to run stable diffusion locally, which means things like Pixel Studio now wouldn't need to go to the cloud to produce an image. And when you look at the camera with the Tensor G5, it's going to support 4K 60 frames a second HDR video, whereas previous models have only been allowed to record 4K at 30 frames per second with HDR video switched on. And that is a lot for the Pixel 10, but we're not finished there, because there's also some features which we've seen leaked that could be coming to the Pixel 11. There could be an option of a 100 times zoom on its way for both video and photo, but we anticipate that the algorithms used will differ slightly on each, so we wouldn't expect to see the same identical quality across both formats. What's more exciting though is that in these documents that we've seen leaked, it actually references a next-gen telephoto camera design to help with these features. And hopefully this is suggesting that there's some significant hardware upgrades that could be on the way for those cameras. On the Pixel 11, cinematic blur is also getting an upgrade, which now will support 4K at 30 frames a second, and a new video relight feature, which seems to change the lighting conditions in videos. And both of those features that I just mentioned are made possible by a cinematic rendering engine in the chip's image signal processor. And maybe one of the best leaks that we actually saw in these documents was a reference to a new low light video feature coming called Night Sight Video. And this does already exist through Video Boost on Pixel phones, but this is all cloud-based and it takes hours for that video to come back. This one will work on device, presumably without the hours of waiting for some good low-light video. Google specifically mentioned that 5 to 10 lux are the intended lighting conditions for this feature, and this is considered to be very low light, and it's pretty similar to a dimly lit room or the brightness of a candle placed about a meter away. And something that comes off the back of camera is another huge upgrade that could be coming to face unlock on the Pixel 11 with Tensor G6. Now, Google is considering adding an under-display infrared camera to the Pixel 11, which will be similar to the two IR cameras that were used for Face Unlock on the Pixel 4. Right now, we have 3D Face Unlock from the Pixel 7 to the 9, but when it comes to low light, it's actually pretty bad and it struggles. So having an under-display IR camera would make this much more secure for one, but then even more reliable in low light. Just because the Tensor G6 can do this on the Pixel 11 in 2026, it doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% coming, but what it does do is match up with the rumors that Apple are thinking of doing the same thing for their iPhones in 2026 as well. And moving away from camera related updates for a second, the inclusion of a new nano TPU in the low power part of the Tensor G6, which means that Google is planning on adding a few ML based always on features to the Pixel phones. A good chunk of these though are health related features such as agonal breathing, cough, snore, sneeze and sleep apnea, fall detection, and a few other things that could also be coming to that Pixel 11. And there's also an emergency sound event detection. So this is a huge leak on the Google Tensor, and then the software that we might see as well coming to Pixels all the way up until 2026 on that Pixel 11. Let me know what you think though about these leaks, and it looks like next year's Pixel could be very exciting, and the fact that we might be getting even more surprises with the Pixel 11 in 2026. If you want to read a little bit more about these Tensor leaks and the Pixel leaks, then have a look in the description below where there'll be a link that can take you straight to it. Before you head off as well, make sure you subscribe to the Android Authority YouTube channel, because we will be bringing you some more exclusive leaks when it comes to the Google Tensor and Pixels in the upcoming months. And if you subscribe to the channel, then I will see you in the next video.